This video is made for adult collectors because this series started like 17 or so years ago. Damn. Animated Rodimus was a bad influence because I got more. Wait, hang on. It's the rest of Ratchet stuff. I got more pain. So yeah, after getting Rodimus, I ended up going back and grabbing more deluxes. God damn it. I got 4. They had Voyager, Wreck-Gar, and Grimlock at my local shop, and I went back for them and they were gone. Pain. But I managed to procure these deluxes. We got Ratchet, Arcee, Blackarachnia, and Jazz. And these 4 are pretty fucking solid. The plastic quality, you often forget how nice it felt on older stuff because making plastic this thick didn't cost nearly as much as it does today. Granted, there are a lot of modern toys that feel just as good, if not better, but it's so consistent on the older figures, which is nice. I like a majority of all of them. Jazz and Blackarachnia have some funky issues, but I'll talk about that a little later. Ratchet looks like a grumpy old man, and I love it. I dig the shade they used for the red and the white. It's ever so slightly off-white, but it works. The blue too looks nice, though why the clear shoulders, that's a bit strange to me. He's pretty clean though, and I find he stands a bit weird, but it's not like fall over weird, it's just visually strange. He has these massive mitts, and that's because he has these magnet thingies, but only half of them, and he holds them weird. But he comes with a lot of other tools that can store on his back and stuff, and that's actually really cool. It reminds me of Age of Extinction Drift. And the head is bang on, I've got no complaints there. Arcee is the animated toy I really wanted because I dig this design and the transformation has always looked really interesting to me. Her pink is a nice dark shade of pink and it fits that animated vibe. She also hits the animated posture quite well naturally. Her legs swoop in and she sort of stretches out. She is short, but to the head though, because her fins go so far out and back, but if you don't like them, you can just take them off. That's nice. She also has a great head sculpt, just like Ratchet, it's bang on. Though the windshield hanging off the back is a bit eh. She does have swords that are cleverly sheathed in her back, like funnel pauldron thingies, and they fit in her hands, so now she looks even more badass. Blackarachnia is an interesting figure. She's got gorilla arms and feet that are a bit fucky. Those are my only real complaints though. I dig this deco with the gold highlights and a bit of red sprinkled throughout. I also like the legs up here above the shoulders, but you can rotate them down if you like that look more. I quite like the head sculpt, the massive gold face crest and the purple mouth section though. The lips I feel kind of get a bit lost in there in that like purple void at times. She comes with a grappling hook claw. That's cool, but I usually just leave it on her back. It's more for alt mode for me anyways. One detail though I really like is the mid torso section. The fact that it's made out of the spider face parts, like the shaping and everything is formed by the mandibles. That's neat. Jazz is another interesting figure. It looks the part, like I have no issues with the way it looks. I like the head sculpt, again, bang on to the show. The proportions are cool, but the stance is weird. The hips have squished themselves over time because this figure is old. So it really only likes to stand like this most of the time, at least on my copy. His feet are also weird because of how they're built on these hinges that have no real stopping point. So sometimes he does what Blackarachnia does and just falls over face first. And then the chest does the RTS Jazz thing of not staying in place, so it moves all the time. It does click into place, but then it just moves. It's annoying. His weapons sheath in his arms, and that's very cool. Like the side pipes become his nunchucks. I love that. So the articulation of all these idiots is actually mostly modern, which is really nice to see. We'll start with Jazz because he's right here. The head can rotate on this weird angle, but it can rotate. It's on a ball joint. It can look up and down a little bit. Shoulders, if you hold the chest, they can do a full 360. Like, it clicks, but it doesn't stay. And I've looked at several videos and I can't really figure out if I'm doing anything wrong. I don't think I am, but yeah, I don't know. You do have bicep rotation, you have double jointed elbows, you do have a wrist swivel, and the wrist can hinge inward because it's on a ball joint. He has a waist joint, hips can go forward and back, and as you saw, mine are squished because this is old. So they like to snap into that spot there. They can go out that far. You have an above the knee swivel, over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then the ankles, they're on a double hinge that can go down and up. And because they're a little bit loose at this bottom joint, he does sometimes just fall like Blackarachnia, which is funny. Speaking of Blackarachnia, let's bring her in. So head ball joints, she can look up really far and down pretty far because you can utilize the joints in her neck. Little bit of head pivot. I wish there was a tiny bit more. Shoulders, their own ball joints, they can do a full 360 in and out. You have a ball jointed elbow, so that allows for bicep rotation. Nothing at the wrist, unfortunately, so her arms are just permanently like that. She does have a little bit of a waist joint, though the mandibles do get in the way of that. Hips can go forward. You can move the butt out of the way so they can go back that far. They can go out. You have thigh rotation. 90 degrees of bend at the knee, though because of the way her legs are shaped, it doesn't look like 90 degrees of bend. And then the toes don't lock, so she's constantly falling over. But still very posable figure. I like it. I just wish the feet were designed better. I wish they were a little bit bigger and locked, because she's constantly falling. There we go. It's this toe. This toe is really loose. This one isn't, so I can like position it and have her stay, but this one's super loose because it's on a pin. I can't fix it, so yeah, that's fun. Ratchet's posing is probably the most basic. Because, I mean, first of all, he's a medic. What dynamic pose is he going to get into? But also, it's a little limited. So the head can rotate left and right. You get a tiny little bit of tilt, not much, and not a lot of up, but you get quite a bit of down. And as you can see, it doesn't really lock in. Shoulders, they are ratcheted, so they can, they're ratcheted. So they can do a full 360, then go out about that far before his doors bump into his head. You have bicep rotation. You have 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, but when you bend the elbows 90 degrees, it triggers the mechanism for the little claw things. And then they don't actually stay locked in. So if you want him bent at 90 degrees, he's always going to have his claws out. He does have articulated fingers for Deluxe. You got everything connected here and the one thumb. Nothing at the waist, and this doesn't really lock in super well, so sometimes he can just, you know, crunch his back. But hey, you have that piece of articulation if you want. Hips can go forward, they can go back, they can go in and out. You have thigh rotation, you have under 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then the feet can go forward and they can go back. There is no tilt, but I mean, I'm not going to get Ratchet into super dynamic poses, so it doesn't really bother me personally. And then you have Arcee, who has quite the amount of articulation for a Deluxe of this time period. So the head is on a massive ball joint, so she can look up all the way and look down, and she's got a little bit of tilt, and you have the rotation, which is great. Shoulders are on a double hinge assembly, so you have the ball jointed shoulder that goes out that far. Then you have the hinge, so it can go all the way up if you want, and it can do a full rotation, though the backpack does get in the way. Ball jointed elbows, so the elbows bend more than 90 and can bicep rotation. You have a swivel at the wrist. You have a waist joint. The hips can go forward. They can go back. They can go in and out, although they only go out about that far, which is a little annoying. You have thigh rotation. You have a single jointed knee that bends just under 90 degrees. And then the ankles can go down. They cannot go up. And you have a toe pivot. So Arcee is extremely posable for being a Deluxe of this time. That is awesome. I really like this toy. So issues with Jazz and Blackarachnia aside, I really like these figures. I've been enjoying messing with them for like the past week and a bit, and their alt modes are no slouch either. All right, let's make them cars. My light's getting in my way. We'll start with Arcee, because she's in front. So to start with, we're going to flip the feet down and then fold these panels out here and then rotate the legs so they're facing outward. Then we're going to bring this section up and out, and I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees. And just fold that in. Then you're going to take the legs and you're going to fold them up. They're going to go into the feet, or sorry, are going to go underneath the windshield. Peg the legs together. Bring these panels, just sort of have them sit there. Going to take the head, fold it up, take the arms, compress them in until they peg together. Rotate the wrists 90 degrees. Just make sure all that's situated properly. And then you take these two segments here and you peg them into the hands. Peg them into, there we go. And that's Arcee. Oh, the swords. The swords need to go into their storage spots. There you go. That's Arcee. I really like that transformation. Jazz is pretty much your standard Jazz toy. You fold the feet up and inside the car, and then you just peg the legs together. Then you take the windshield, you flip it up, and you bring this chest section forward. We are going to then rotate these panels on its arms 180 degrees. That around. Also, you can flip these out if you want to do that for like a, I don't know, you can hit people with it. Then you take the legs and you rotate them up and they will just feed underneath the windshield there. And while you're doing that, you want to make sure these wheels and shoulders are rotated inward so that all that lines up nicely. And then you just tuck the arms, bump the camera, tuck the arms in and they will peg into place.
underneath the windshield and into the wheels, like right behind the wheels. Then you fold these two sections down and then this folded up, but this chest piece here will fold up like that. And that's Jazz's transformation. Ratchet's involves you taking all of his accessories and pulling them off. And then we're going to fold the feet up. You're going to compress the hands fully. Then you want to take the backpack and bring it out. Just gonna leave it up like that because the trigger for the head is right here. So you compress the head in, and then when you want to get it back out, you just do that and the head pops out. Unlike Age of Extinction Prime, it doesn't shoot out though, so that's a 0 out of 10 for this toy. You then take these shoulders and you rotate them up. Then you're gonna take the wrists, rotate them 180 degrees, and then compress the arms. Then you want to, everything's flying. Then you want to take this front section, bring it out, and you're going to take the arms and fold them in. And these front pieces here will lock into the bumper and keep that in place. And once you have that done, you want to make sure the tools are facing down because they're going to fit into these slots. So you take the legs, you bend them, you bend them in at the knee, and you peg them together. Peg to get, there we go. And then you bring this section up, and that will fold in. Then you take this panel and you bring it down, clip that all together. Clip it all together properly. There we are. And then that's Ratchet in his dumpy little panel van. Now, Blackarachnia is probably the one that's the most complicated just because nothing has a place to tab in because she's a spider. So you bring the legs out and you rotate this around, fold the feet up, and that makes the back legs. And that's pretty much the only parts that have like a place to sit properly. Everything else just sort of goes wherever it needs to go and then just sort of wishes it has a tab. So you're going to take the back section, the spider butt, you're going to open this up and extend it out. You're going to fold this entire assembly around and push the head into the spider butt. And then this panel, like you fold the head back, this panel will close up over the face. I always mess this up, like getting it lined up properly. But while you're doing that, you also take the spider face and pull it forward. Then we are going to fold these sections down around the arms, bring the legs out. These spider arms are going to sit back here. This is where I like to put them. And then the spider legs at the back are going to just sit down. Then we take these. I like to put them this way. So that way these little bendable mandibles, legs are at the front so she can do this while standing if she wants to. And then we take these little mandible pieces and flip them forward. And that's pretty much it. I can never get this like head. Oh, there we go. I can never get the head to like look hidden away. So I think that's just how it's supposed to go. And then you can take the claw piece and tab it into the butt. And that's her spider web. And there you have Blackarachnia finished.
Alt modes are great. They hit the mark on being their original alt modes, but stylized, and I dig it. I like Ratchet's just plain old panel van look. It's so dumpy and so him, with some real nice colors, and the paint matching is almost great other than the roof. That's like the only part you can really tell the difference. Arcee's alt mode uses the body parts effectively to make this alt mode, though her arms are just kind of sticking out at the back there, but that's fine. I love the colors on the front too. The blue swords sticking out of the back feel like light contrails. Blackarachnia is pretty friggin' sweet with her hand sticking out. But she looks like an intimidating spider with a creepy posable face and sharp pointy legs. The grappler can be used as a web to hang her from things, and that's probably how I'm going to display this. But I think out of all four of them, Jazz wins in alt mode for me. This shit rocks. The swooping curves, the way the tail lights point out, the side view mirrors, the side pipes, it all looks so cool. I also dig the stripe, though part of me wishes it continued on to the roof. That would have looked a little bit more epic. I like these four, but they can go for quite a lot on the aftermarket. I recommend, like, hands down recommend Arcee and Ratchet. Blackarachnia and Jazz are a little bit more of a tougher sell just because standing them can be a bit annoying, but they're still fun, and if you can get them for less than 30 bucks each, I'd say go for it. I see them sometimes for like 40 or 50, and that's way too much. But that's my look at a bunch of random animated deluxes. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.